Late afternoon, eyes burning, fingers stiff, you are typing a critical email to your boss. Your chest locked, completely still. Suddenly you gasp, violently pull in heavy air into your lungs. You just realized you haven't breathed for 30 whole seconds. You do this every single day, while scrolling, while staring, while working. Is this glowing glass screen silently suffocating you, holding your breath hostage? The enemy is not your bad posture, but a biological mechanism. I know that feeling. The emptiness hits when the screen goes dark. It is 3 in the afternoon, and your body feels like a collapsed bridge under an invisible burden. You wonder why sitting in an ergonomic chair leaves you feeling utterly destroyed. Your prefrontal cortex, the logical CEO of your brain, harshly whispers that you lack basic stamina. You instinctively blame your terrible posture or your pathetic inability to breathe like a normal adult. A crushing weight settles deep inside your chest. Profound exhaustion. You fail. Every single day, you make a promise to be mindful, to sit up straight, to inhale deeply. But the second a notification chimes, your ribcage violently tightens like an iron vise. It is a quiet, brutal battle slowly tearing away your vitality hour by agonizing hour. You look at your reflection trapped inside the cold black mirror and feel an overwhelming wave of miserable inadequacy. Quartet self-loathing. Completely powerless. The rational part of your mind frantically screams at you to take one deep breath, yet your physical body stubbornly refuses to obey. This friction between what your intellect knows you should do and what your rigid muscles actually do mercilessly erodes your self-worth. You genuinely believe you are fundamentally broken, disconnected from the very functions supposed to keep you alive. Crushing helplessness. Pure defeat. You convince yourself that you are uniquely defective, incapable of managing the simple stress of a normal Tuesday. But before you continue to punish yourself, listen to this. The windshield wipers are violently slashing back and forth at maximum speed. The broken radio is loudly blasting distorted static. Your exhausted children are relentlessly screaming in the backseat, and you are desperately straining your burning eyes just to read a blurry road sign through the heavy rain. Complete shutdown. This is exactly what happens to your prefrontal cortex, the logical CEO of your brain, after surviving an exhausting 8 or 10-hour shift in the demanding modern corporate world. This highly advanced region of your brain is strictly responsible for processing complex thoughts, regulating your emotional responses, and forcing you to make rational, healthy choices throughout the day. But every single time you meticulously draft an urgent email, forcibly suppress your intense frustration during a truly pointless meeting, or carefully analyze a dense, complicated spreadsheet, your brain rapidly consumes its finite, precious supply of blood glucose. This is a heavily researched, scientifically documented phenomenon specifically known as ego depletion. Your willpower is not some mystical, unlimited aura of positive energy that you can miraculously summon by simply thinking happy thoughts or reading motivational quotes. It is a strictly physical, biological resource entirely dependent on cellular glucose metabolism, and by mid-afternoon, your cognitive fuel tank is brutally scraping the absolute bottom. Your prefrontal cortex is desperately gasping for basic metabolic energy, utterly incapable of processing even one more trivial, everyday choice. When you sit rigidly at your office desk and suddenly realize you are essentially holding your breath while staring blankly at a glowing rectangle, it is fundamentally because the conscious, analytical part of your mind simply cannot function anymore. The complex, beautiful machinery of your intellect has overheated and crashed to preserve baseline biological survival functions. You are physically, emotionally, and neurologically depleted, entirely stripped of the vital mental energy required to actively and consciously regulate your own respiratory system. Your physical body forcefully enters a state of severe energy conservation, ruthlessly rationing every single drop of available glucose just to keep your most vital internal organs functioning. The sophisticated CEO has completely abandoned the boardroom, leaving behind an empty, heavily disorganized space utterly incapable of managing the simple, life-giving rhythm of inhaling and exhaling. Fatal exhaustion. You are left silently operating on invisible fumes, completely vulnerable and exposed to whatever primitive, ancient mechanism decides to forcefully take the wheel. But the incredibly complex human machine is fundamentally built for survival, and it never truly leaves you completely defenseless in the terrifying dark. When the conscious driver has finally collapsed on the steering wheel, the brain is forced to call in a stunt double to take over. That stunt double is ancient, primitive, and completely devoid of rational thought. Have you experienced that sudden, chilling jolt of realization on your morning commute? You back your car out of the driveway, navigate through 3 busy intersections, and suddenly panic, desperately wondering if you remembered to close the garage door, Or perhaps you safely drive 15 miles straight down a crowded highway to get home, completely zoning out, and suddenly realize you have absolutely no conscious memory of passing a single car along the entire route. Who exactly was driving that heavy vehicle for the past 15 miles? Think very carefully. It was your basal ganglia. This deep, primitive cluster of neurons acts as a blind, heavily automated butler for your exhausted mind. When your prefrontal cortex shuts down, this ancient structure seamlessly steps out of the shadows to seize complete control of your physical body. It meticulously observes your daily routines, your repetitive typing, your endless scrolling, and compresses these complex, multi-step actions into a single, effortless block of muscle memory. In neuroscience, this highly efficient survival mechanism is scientifically known as chunking. You do not consciously think about lifting your finger, moving your wrists, or forming words on a keyboard anymore. Your unconscious mind has entirely taken over the heavy lifting, seamlessly executing a pre-written script so flawlessly that your conscious awareness is entirely bypassed. It is a highly sophisticated, deeply ingrained autopilot system purposefully designed to save your rapidly depleting energy. When you are staring blankly at that glowing screen, violently typing away at a seemingly urgent email, or mindlessly swiping through an endless digital feed, you are essentially functioning as a temporary amnesiac, heavily operated by a hidden biological puppeteer. The physical act of typing, the intense visual focus, and the rigid posture are all effortlessly bundled into one massive, automated behavioral chunk by your internal butler. This primitive EU topola does not understand the nuanced context of the modern world. It rigidly locks your muscles into place and hyperfocuses your vision to ensure the physical task is completed without draining your precious cognitive reserves. This state of complete, unthinking automation is deeply unsettling when you finally snap out of it and vividly realize your conscious mind was entirely absent. You are nothing more than a biological machine, blindly executing a pre-programmed loop while your actual awareness was temporarily suspended in a dark, empty void. This flawless autopilot mode is incredibly efficient and absolutely vital for your basic daily survival. But for this unconscious machine to truly become addicted to a specific behavior, it requires a very specific kind of kindling. That specific kindling lighting up your unconscious machinery is dopamine. Society constantly lies to you, telling you that this famous chemical is the ultimate reward, the biological equivalent of pure joy and deep satisfaction. It is a massive lie. Dopamine is not the hormone of happiness. It is strictly the hormone of desperate expectation. Think about that deeply pathetic but incredibly familiar moment when you slowly stand up from your desk, wander aimlessly into the kitchen, and forcefully pull open the heavy refrigerator door for the 5th time today. You already know exactly what is sitting inside the cold plastic shelves. There is only a half-empty carton of old milk and a few lonely eggs. But your primitive brain violently whispers, "Open it again, maybe something magically appeared." That is the exact same biological mechanism making you instinctively hold your breath while aggressively refreshing your work email on a quiet, peaceful Sunday evening. You already know there is absolutely nothing urgent waiting for your immediate attention. But the gripping anticipation forces your lungs to freeze and your fingers to swipe. This is scientifically defined as a reward prediction error. Your internal nervous system is not actually looking for a tangible reward anymore. It is hopelessly addicted to the agonizingly tense buildup of what might potentially happen next. Do you stare at this glowing screen to find genuine joy? Absolutely not. You are just obediently serving a relentless thirst. Every single time you aggressively refresh the page or impulsively open a new tab, your brain releases a tiny potent drop of chemical expectation, successfully keeping you trapped in a deeply unsatisfying cycle of false hope. You are actively sacrificing your own oxygen, systematically starving your physical body of vital air, just to blindly chase an ILSogen that never actually materializes into reality. The decoction is so perfectly engineered that your rigid back muscles and locked ribcage willingly endure the physical discomfort just to keep the anticipation alive. It is a profoundly ridiculous, agonizingly pitiful state of existence where you willingly suffocate yourself for a digital ghost. You are frantically pulling the lever of a broken slot machine, desperately hoping the next pull will somehow deliver the deep peace your tired mind naturally craves. But the peace never arrives, and you violently remain locked in that breathless, desperate posture, waiting for a profound revelation that simply does not exist. The fake chromis of dopamine has entirely hijacked your complex respiratory system, brutally turning you into a helpless hostage to your own biological craving. You deeply hate this suffocating loop and genuinely think your brain is completely broken? You are completely wrong. This specific behavior is not a broken error. It is actually a truly brilliant, high-level feature. Your primitive brain is actively protecting your system. Mother Nature is desperately trying to save you. You are simply executing an ancient defense mechanism. The chaotic modern world is overwhelming your senses. Loud digital noises and bright lights attack you. Your entire nervous system registers an immediate threat. Invisible predators are hiding in your digital inbox. Your deepest primitive brain senses extreme physical danger. It immediately triggers the classic biological freeze response. Holding your breath physically makes you completely invisible. A dangerous wild tiger cannot hear you breathe. Absolute silence is your ultimate primal survival instinct too. Your ancient ancestors survived by hiding in silence. They stayed perfectly still in the dark bushes. Your body is doing the exact same thing. You are preparing for life or death combat. The glowing screen is your new hostile jungle. Your tightly locked chest is a biological shield. Your rigid frozen posture is pure evolutionary brilliance. It is a highly sophisticated, profound evolutionary. You peg grade. Your physical human form is prioritizing absolute safety. Your brilliant biology is successfully keeping you alive. It simply demands complete stillness to assess threats. Any movement or noise will alert the predator. Your lungs temporarily stop expanding to prevent detection. All your rigid muscles are primed for action. This breathless physical state is a vital ancient adaptation. It actively protects you from total sensory collapse. Your resilient nervous system refuses to break down. You must deeply respect this profound biological design. You cannot fight millions of years of evolution. Your body is wiser than modern hustle culture. It inherently knows exactly when to play dead. It deeply understands the heavy cost of movement. This intense forced stillness is a powerful primitive shield. Your deep unconscious mind is an elite guardian. It permanently shields you from the chaotic environment. You should truly feel profound awe right now. All your internal systems are functioning perfectly well. Every single frozen breath is a tiny victory. Your superior biology is winning the invisible war. You remain completely safe within this evolutionary armor. This magnificent internal machinery deserves your utmost respect. Please stop feeling guilty about your natural reflexes. Your ancient survival software is running flawlessly today. It successfully blocks out the dangerous digital noise. You should actively thank your brilliant physical brain. It is constantly saving you from mental destruction. You are witnessing millions of years of progress. This specific screen apnea is a biological masterpiece. When you finally understand the quiet brilliance of this ancient machinery within your chest, the heavy burden of daily guilt will gently begin to dissolve into the surrounding air, leaving behind a vast and peaceful space of profound self-acceptance. You are infinitely larger and more beautifully complex in these exhausted neural loops, and you no longer need to violently force your rigid body to obey the demanding modern world. The glowing screen flickering in the dark office is simply glass and light, and the urgent email waiting in your inbox is absolutely not a dangerous tiger hiding in the shadows. So you are entirely safe to gently lower your biological shields. The next time you silently catch yourself holding your breath while staring at the cold glass, please do not punish your fragile physical form with harsh judgments or bitter self-loathing, because your body is merely trying its absolute best to protect your tired soul from overwhelming harm. Instead of engaging in a brutal, invisible war against your own natural reflexes, simply observe the tight sensation in your chest with quiet gratitude, acknowledging the fierce loyalty of your nervous system before softly whispering a word of thanks to your silent guardian. Letting go of the desperate need to constantly control every single physical reaction is the true beginning of genuine healing, allowing your exhausted mind to slowly drift back down into a steady rhythm of safety and profound peace. Breathing is not a strenuous task you must forcefully manage with depleted willpower, but rather a gentle tide that will naturally return to the shores of your lungs the very moment you softly remind your vigilant brain that the perceived danger has already passed. You only need to invite the stillness into your rigid posture, relaxing your tight shoulders millimeter by millimeter, letting the heavy armor fall away to reveal the soft and perfectly unbroken human being that has always existed underneath all that terrifying survival stress. As the gentle wave of awareness sweeps through your tired muscles, the agonizing grip of the digital world naturally loosens its heavy hold. And you gently remember how deeply wonderful it feels to simply draw a slow and uninterrupted stream of air into your living body. This graceful surrender to your own biological reality is the ultimate form of self-love, a silent promise to forever cherish the brilliant and hypersensitive vessel that carries you so faithfully through the relentless storms of this incredibly demanding lifetime. Did you feel it? That deep breath you just took, the quiet rhythm of true safety returning to you. The digital illusion is finally broken. This is just the very beginning of understanding yourself, if you are ready to face the truths. safely hidden away deep inside your core. Please stay here right by my side. On this slow journey of profound discovery, we will gently decode the silent patterns together as one. I will see you at the very next level of awareness.